What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory, our last game before the third and last international break of the season. Thank God about that. Roma playing at home against Udinese, 11th game week of the Serie A. Another chance, technically, to go top of the league table by ourselves. The mathematics proves this. Our direct opponents in this first phase of the league are playing some complicated games this weekend. I mean, arguably, we have the easiest, but when analyzing this game from its title, then we'll dig. I like digging in these match previews, finding the best tips, predictions using, you know me, numbers, data and everything. But from the title of this game, compared to what Napoli have, to what Inter have, to what Milan potentially also have, we're playing at home against a middle table team. The chance is there. But I would say that this game is not as easy as it presents to ourselves, because Udinese are a very complicated team to face. Ever since they appointed Runjaic, they are a well-organized team, and there are some components of this lot which are extremely physical players. And when a team is very well organized and you match it with some good physical individual components, it always ends up being a very complicated game to win. And I'll be honest with you, it's not easy, but we're gonna try and kind of cut it down into pieces and actually potentially giving the best prediction coming from this game. But first of all, how is everybody doing? Rangers yesterday was a good win. I can't lie. It was a very good, solid, easy win. I did do a match reaction on that one, so if you did miss it, make sure to go watch that. Also, I mean, coming to this game, seeing that Rangers game, I think is a fair point to make. But how's everybody doing? Let me know in the live chat. I will read comments today. I'm going to take it a bit chilled as it's Friday evening. Hello, Kate. Hello, Neno. With that piece of trash of Zaniolo, I'm a little scared. Harry says, what's up? And Footfire says, Simo, when do you think Dybala will get back from the injury? I reckon Dybala will be back for the Napoli game. End of November to get Dybala back going, but yeah. No need to speak about Dybala today. Dybala won't be there, and Dybala is not the central topic. Okay, so Udinese. Let's have a look at them. Let's have a look at their results. Let's have a look at how they play in terms of tactics and formation. And let's look at best players and potential threats to us. Okay, let me just have a good sip and then we'll break this down. Okay, the first thing that we must say is that there's an Udinese at home and an Udinese away. And this is a clear pattern. Udinese away from home this season has struggled a lot. They have struggled a lot. The only big win that I can remember coming from away was the game that they won in game week 3 against Inter in Milan. Inter was still not the team that they are now. They were still a bit confused at the beginning of the season. And that was a good win for Udinese, which shows that Udinese are a team that you don't want to mess around with. Udinese is a team. This is the classic game where you need an early goal, because the more it goes on and on for, the least it's gonna get, the less probable it is for you to score. Because being an organized team, the more time that goes by, they're gonna close down. They're very physical, and we're gonna have difficulties. This is a game where I expect and we need a goal in the first half to kind of put the sword on them and going, I did what I had to do, now you need to open up, otherwise you're gonna lose. And then if they open up, because they're forced to open up if you score an early goal, then you can hit them with your good defense And with your ability to hit them on a counter-attack, then you can score another. But you do not want this game to be one of those games where you start your approach very slowly, because this is a game where you need early goals. Otherwise, they're going to close. And as I said before, they're very organized. But looking at their away games, they lost, apart from the Inter game, they lost to Sassuolo 3-1. They drew 1-1 in Cremona against Cremonese. They lost 3-1 in Turin. So generally speaking, they're a much better team at home. I look at their last result. They ended Juric's and Atalanta's winning streak, unbeaten streak, I may say. They beat Atalanta. They beat Lecce at home. They lost to Milan at home. Yeah, I mean, look, realistically speaking, they're a roller coaster of a team, because they don't have a straight pattern when it comes to results. But some of these players are picking up form. And I look at Zaniolo. Zaniolo is probably their best player. Yes, I must say. And he's picking up form. We're for the first time ever since Zaniolo left Roma, I'm seeing a different Zaniolo on a character point of view and on a performance point of view. I see a less childish Zaniolo. Now, I think ever since Zaniolo scored against us with Atalanta and did that clown show, absolute clown show, I think as much as he felt very proud about that moment, I feel like an alarm rang in his head after all the criticism that he received. And it kind of made him rethink everything that he's done before, to the extent that now we have a Zaniolo who has released various interviews in the last couple of weeks mentioning how Roma was his life, how it was so difficult for him to leave Roma, and how if he would have thought about it a bit more carefully, he wouldn't have done that celebration last year with Atalanta against us. And then remember, at the end of last season, Zaniolo was involved in this scandal where apparently he was watching in Florence, he was watching a Fiorentina-Roma under-21 game, and apparently he got in the locker rooms of the under-21 Roma team and had a fight with two of the players, and then these two players went to hospital. So, I mean, Zaniolo has always been a child. I remember Zaniolo when he was with us in Mourinho's year. Zaniolo always, the problem with Zaniolo has always been his attitude, because on a talent level, Zaniolo was actually a good player. Like, Zaniolo was a player that every Roma fan created a bond with. Everyone back before he left loved Zaniolo. I remember when I started the channel in Mourinho's first years, when Zaniolo was with us, I defended Zaniolo with 20,000 swords around him, because Zaniolo was always the victim of the media, seen as the kid with a zero mindset and a terrible attitude. And Zaniolo is kind of a victim of this. And I think he's reached the level of maturity now that makes him go, I've made so many cretin shows in the past, whether it's that celebration against Roma, whether it's that under-21 incident last season. And he kind of went, okay, I'm acting like this, but where am I going? Where is my football career bringing me? Because to be honest with you, going from Roma to Galatasaray to Aston Villa not playing one game, and then changing teams last season on loans between Atalanta and Fiorentina, and at the end of all of this ending up at Udinese, makes you go, maybe I need to look at myself in the mirror. Maybe I need to look at myself in the mirror and go, why do I do these things? Maybe I need to improve my attitude. And I think Zaniolo has understood this. But, as he said yesterday, Roma non dimentica. There's a very famous phrase amongst us fans. Roma non dimentica. Roma doesn't forget. You can eat whatever you've done before in the past up. You can withdraw from your mistakes and accept them. But this fan base is a fan base that remembers everything, and the way you celebrated in that Roma-Atalanta game almost a year ago, can't make us forget. Can't make us forget. Because a player who celebrates like that against the team that has made him a football player, against a team that has weighted him after 3 broken ACLs, means that you've got no values. And in a football with less and less values in 2020, moving into 2026 in a month, this football era has no values whatsoever. It's not only Zaniolo, but not having values in 2025 is very common, but just adds you to the pile of players in this football world with no values that you can no longer trust. And, when people say Zaniolo is living a good moment of form, on Sunday, he will need to play 10 times better because Zaniolo suffers these atmospheres. Now, again, he scored against us in the Atalanta game, but Zaniolo is somebody who suffers these environments. These environments, an environment is an environment of Zaniolo stepping up and getting booed by everyone makes him frustrated. So I expect the usual Zaniolo on Sunday having sticks with Mancini and digs with Cristante. I expect it. And I must say he's playing better. And I can see elements of him maturing. I see it. But on Sunday it will be hell, because I'm sorry, but maybe it's just because a lot of fans from all around the world may look at us as fans who get offended very easily. And look, I've got nothing against this. I think Roma fans are a fan base that keeps things very tight to their skin. As I said before, if there's one thing that our fan base does better than anyone else, is that we don't forget things. So, we don't. Is it a different Zaniolo? Yes. But ever since that Roma-Atalanta game, Zaniolo for me no longer exists. Nicolò Zaniolo for me no longer exists. And on Sunday he deserves the worst, as always. And he will get destroyed by the boos on Sunday. But going back to the game, because I spoke about Zaniolo for like 10 minutes. Who cares about Zaniolo? But it is his game. Like, it's Zaniolo's game. Other than that, organized the defense. Udinese are a team that don't concede many goals. They've always been like this with Runjaic. They've always been like this. Udinese are so difficult to penetrate every single time. I'm just looking at their last weekend's lineup just to see their defense. Bertola, Cabasele, and Sule. Players that, if you grab them like this, don't seem incredible defenders, but they are very organized. Oh, special mention goes to Arthur Atta. Very interesting player. A player who loves and is incredibly good at transitions, in my opinion. That's all about Udinese. Moving on to us. I'm going to immediately show you my predicted 11 because I want to get it out of the way, because I don't think there are going to be many differences seen from yesterday's predicted 11. And in general, I think this game means too much, as always, to change things up. I think the plan is very clear. The plan is to grind and get the best and squeeze the best out of these players until we get to January. And I think if we get to this position in January, it would be a dream. It would be a magical moment. Because then in January, you can clean what you don't want and add what you do want. So the objective is very clear. The objective is grind, until January, squeeze the best out of these players until January, and then add and clean, because we will need to clean and we will need to add. So I generally think that, and Gasperini, something that Gasperini has proven to us is that he doesn't like changing much. He doesn't. Because I think he doesn't trust everyone. He has the players that he trusts the most, like every manager. But this is no game to experiment. Inter playing Lazio. Now again, Lazio are not the biggest of threats, but it's always an Inter-Lazio game. So you never know. Napoli go away to Bologna. Very complicated game. And Milan go away to Parma, which again, they're better than Parma, no doubt. But it's always those teams that need points and are playing at home, and Juventus are playing in the derby of Turin. So there are chances to comb points with other teams, and there is the chance to, if everything aligns, to enter this international break as first by ourselves. But we do need to do our job, and our job is not an easy job. Question that people might be asking: do I think the Rangers game and yesterday's game can impact the form and fitness of the players on Sunday? No, 2 reasons. Number one, because yesterday's game, we controlled it for 45 minutes. Yesterday's game had the perfect outcome when it comes to balancing yesterday's game and Sunday's game. Because we did the job done in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes max, and whenever you score 2 goals, from the 35th minute of the first half to the end of the game, we controlled. The intensity wasn't big. We never suffered. So psychologically, physically, and mentally, it wasn't an exhausting game. It was a game where you played against a team that was far worse than you, so you didn't have to counter it with a lot of energies. So I think yesterday's game on that sense was good. The other thing is because I think the intense training sessions or distributing the first fruits of the season. Now, I said back around the second international break, so 1 month and a half ago, I said that this team was still far away from optimal condition. If there's one thing that the second half against Parma, that the first half and some extent of the second half in the Milan game, and for at least 70 good minutes in yesterday's game, is that we're getting to that optimal condition. We're way more fluid, and we run. We run, something that is crazy because Roma and running were 2 completely dystopic universes that never aligned. The last time I saw Roma players running in a football game, I think I was like 6 years old. The fruits are being seen of the heavy and intense preseason. I said this since the beginning. The preseason that Gasperini operates can be easily designed on a graph. And the graph that I presented to you at the start of the season is exactly how it's developing. You start big because of a boost, then you have a little downfall because you have an initial crisis when it comes to you feel those training sessions, but then once you're past this initial trough, this initial downfall, it's exponentially going to increase. And this is something that I've seen in the last 3 games. We're playing more fluid, we're playing faster, and we're matching the playing faster with more minutes in the game. So if at the start of the season, I saw 20 minutes in the first 2 games against Bologna and Pisa, I saw 20 minutes of proper Gasperinian football. Moving into the end of September, into October, I saw 40 minutes of Gasperinian football. Now, if you get the last 3 games, I'm seeing 60 minutes of Gasperinian football. And I think to the end of November, with this international break as well, moving into the start of December, we're going to get to optimal condition. And that is where I think we're gonna eat our not result wise, on an energy basis and on a fitness basis. We're gonna eat our opponents up, especially in the second half. So that's pretty much what I have to say about us. Predicted 11 is that. I think until Angelino isn't back, Wesley will play on his side to cover him, and Chilik will play as a fullback, even though Chilik is better in a defensive three. And then up front, Pellegrini, Sule and Dovbyk played too well yesterday not to repeat them, and I don't think you have many options up front with Dybala and Bailey injured. Yes, you've got Baldanzi, but has Baldanzi ever really been used? Ferguson is still out. So I think up three is going to be that. Dovbyk is picking up form, Pellegrini is coming from a good performance, and Sule is also picking up form. Not picking up form, but he played yesterday. And one thing about Sule is he plays up better away. That's something that I've said since preseason. But the other thing with Sule is that he plays better without Dybala. He does. He simply does. I'm not sure if it's a mental thing, that he suffers Dybala too much because he wants to be the protagonist. But it's definitely also a tactical reason. Dybala and Sule together don't work. So when Sule isn't there, Dybala plays better. And when Dybala isn't there, Sule plays better. That's my match preview. That is my match preview for Sunday's game. Not an easy game at all. Right, let's read a few comments. Mancini is going to bully him again. Is Gas going to murder Runjic? You're giving Zaniolo too much credit. That's his publicist talking after he got into that fight with Roma youth players. No, look, I agree. I don't want to give him credit, but if he is picking up form, the way I see it is, okay, his Udinese world right now makes him look like a good player because he's clearly their standout player. And that's maybe the illusion that playing in a lower reality, if you start scoring goals, you stand out. But I also think that part of why he is picking up form is arguably, you can think this or not, because he is matured. He has matured. Maybe he also wants an Italian call-up in the future. You can tell that he has matured. Does that maturity mean that now he deserves all the respect? No, because as I said before, Zaniolo has made far too many mistakes in the past with us, without us. Do we want to remember when Zaniolo ripped our shirt apart because he got subbed off when we lost the game? Zaniolo has made far too many mistakes to back him, to defend him, to apologize. No, Zaniolo is an idiot. Zaniolo remains an idiot. But if he is giving a bit of continuity to his results, it also means maybe that he's fixing a bit of his attitude. But we'll see it on Sunday. I think Sunday's game proves this. If Sunday, despite all the boos, despite everyone booing you every time you touch the ball, despite there's going to be those moments where Mancini's going to dig him. So despite those moments, can Zaniolo remain calm? Can Zaniolo be a game decider for Udinese under these circumstances? If he does so, if he remains calm, if he doesn't throw those tantrums, then I think we have a confirmation. But there is the risk that he completely falls in a crisis on Sunday because he's very attached to his mood and the way his mood presents him. I can't wait to see Mancini bully Zaniolo. We all know he will. Hello from Iraq, says Kazim. I'm great. How are you? Where do you watch the game? At the stadium, mate. Udinese is a tough matchup, says Zong. We should push still January, then maybe get some new players and sell some. They both play the same position, says Morbo. Dybala and Sule, they do, yeah. What do we have tonight? Do we have a big game? Pisa Cremonese. Oh my God. don't watch that. For the sanity of yourself, don't watch that game. Just make me that promise. Do not waste 2 hours of your life watching Pisa Cremonese. Don't. Just don't. Pisa Cremonese on a Friday night. Oh my god. Right, I'm gonna end it here. If we had to sell one player in the winter, who should it be? Sell implies that it's one of the players that we have and that we haven't loaned. Because I think if it's any player that we can give back, I would give Ferguson back. Because Gasperini clearly doesn't rate him. He clearly isn't clicking. So I think send him back and operate that slot to get another striker. And maybe also liquidating his wages away. But selling implies that it's our player. And I must say Baldanzi. Because, again, Gasperini doesn't like him. Gasperini never uses him. Every time he gets subbed in, he does absolutely nothing. So yeah, Baldanzi is the player to sell. Right, I'm going to catch you tomorrow or on Sunday with vlog, match reaction and all that beauty. Hit the like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to become a member, I have revamped my membership page with 2 offers, $4.99 per month and $7.99 per month. You can read the advantages on both. If you do want to join, click the join button down below. If we can get 100 likes on this video, we can party. It would be great. Enjoy your Friday night. Don't watch Pisa Cremonese. Rather watch a Bundesliga game if it's on. And I'll talk to you soon. Simo out.